Jack the Ripper continues after news at 10.
On Thames tomorrow.
If you carry a 00 number, it means you're licensed to kill.
Bond. James Bond.
Stay where you are.
I can assure you my intentions are strictly honourable.
Sean Connery stars with Ursula Andress in a classic James Bond screen adventure. A mission to investigate the mysterious death of a British secret agent. The James Bond film Dr. No, tomorrow at 8 on Thames.
Hello, aren't you? Yeah, I'm you, 12 months from now. I like the clothes. What did I do? Rob a bank? No, got a job in one, actually. You did employment training. E.T., learned how to operate this computer. Go on, then. Let's see me balance. No, I don't want to ruin your day. Have a look at mine instead.
If you're over 18 and been unemployed over 6 months, phone free about new employment training.
Wait till you know what you're doing. If the only thing stopping you getting a job is training, the only thing stopping you training is you.
I begin my journey here, in here. Now I'm being transferred down there. Inside, I can travel around a network in this office. Or leave it. In fact, go anywhere I'm needed. Anywhere. Because I and the millions like me have been set free. Who am I? And this is a Toshiba portable computer.
When pain strikes, ask your pharmacist for Nurofen. It's gentle, and you can't buy a more effective painkiller.
It's just perfect. Can we afford it? Everyone's going to be so jealous. Oh, I do love you.
The new advanced high-powered compact cleaners from Hoover. 4 stylish models with special tool storage. Perfect for your first home and forever.
There's no better liquid.
So Paul's the best.
Persil's creamy.
Smells fresher than the rest. Hot Point agreed.
They say so too.
It's the best liquid.
For you.
And you.
And you. Bright and clean, as you've seen.
It gets the whole wash clean.
Your whole wash right.
So colors stay bright.
And white stays white.
So bright and clean.
Bright and clean, as you've seen.
It's thick, it's rich, you see what we mean. You can't pour better liquid into your machine.
Get your whole wash right.
Gets it bright and clean.
Persil liquid.
Yeah, that's the scene.
The best liquid for today's wash. Persil liquid.
I'm General Accident, and I have a splendid new personal pension plan.
You have?
Call now for details.
I will.
Save today, secure tomorrow. The new easy program of videos from Amstrad Fidelity. Answer the simple questions.
Ooh.
And you've set the video.
So easy, even grown-ups can use them.
There is a company which has played a key part in all these British achievements. In November, you'll be able to apply for shares in this company. British Steel. British strength. For more information and to reserve a prospectus, phone 0272 272 272.
Coming soon on Thames, a new series of Boon. Texas Rangers have gone undercover.
Boon Daily Investigations.
BDI.
Miss North, can I ask what your plans are now?
Hey, come on, leave it up.
Can I just ask your name, sir?
No comment.
Oh, just a few words.
Ken, we get a job that wouldn't tax the imagination of an 18-year-old police cadet. And you screw it up in a way I wouldn't have thought possible.
Yeah, all right, Margaret. Now let's leave it.
Boon blows his cover in a new series. Coming soon on Thames.
IRA spokesman, the government plans a reporting ban. Millions for air traffic control, but should it be billions? The princess's fears in a society of drugs and divorce. The Football League ejects its £44 million president. And the burning bus from which some brave children saved the handicapped. Good evening. The government is expected to announce tomorrow a ban on all television and radio interviews with members of the IRA and its political wing, Sinn Féin. The ban is likely to be outlined in the Commons by the Home Secretary, Mr. Hurd. The Home Office is responsible for broadcasting law. Mrs. Thatcher has already said terrorist organisations should be denied what she called the oxygen of publicity.
Sinn Féin is a legal organisation, though recognised as being the political wing of the IRA, but its activities have for a long time incensed the government, particularly when after terrorist outrages, Sinn Féin has been free to speak, giving sympathetic interpretations of events from the IRA's point of view. The Irish Republic's broadcasting network, RTE, is already banned from interviewing Sinn Féin, even though, as in Britain, the organisation is legal. Mrs. Thatcher has long condemned those who give Sinn Féin what she calls the oxygen of publicity. That's why a ban is now favoured in Britain. The Home Secretary first hinted about the ban on Sunday on the BBC. His announcement tomorrow will be met with protests, not only from those who sympathise with Sinn Féin's ends, but from those who fear a ban will play into the IRA's hands. Julie Hall, News at 10.
The Reverend Ian Paisley, the leader of the Democratic Unionists in Northern Ireland, has just given his reaction to the government's plan.
And I think that this is the only way. You see, we're not dealing with proper politics. Even if people are elected, if they believe in murdering and killing and bombing and maiming and fomenting rebellion, well, you can't have them, no matter what electoral support they may have. They've got to be dealt with in keeping with the law and in keeping with the responsibility of the law to see that people can live their lives in peace.
A few minutes ago, a senior Tory backbencher, Mr. Hugh Dykes, criticised the ban on interviews. He said he hoped the House of Commons would not accept it.
This plays into their hands. It builds them up into being like a state or an army officially and so on. It all helps them. It's just the kind of thing they want. Also, I think it's very, very difficult to arrange and police. It's extremely difficult to get the legal definitions right. Would a Sinn Féin spokesman be like an IRA spokesman? Would he just be a sympathiser and so on? What is the definition of advocating violence? It's fraught with legal problems. It's a very foolish measure, and I hope that they will reconsider it again.
And now Labour's Northern Ireland spokesman, Mr. Kevin McNamara. Mr. McNamara, do you think the government is right to deprive the IRA spokesman of publicity?
I think we've got to ask first, why is the government doing it? Is it hoping in some way that it will help in our proper campaign to defeat the IRA? And the answer is I don't think it will help in that way, because they'll turn around and say, look, we have people elected, they told us to give up violence, we tried it the democratic way, and you've stopped us because you don't like what we're doing. It's not going to affect opinion in Northern Ireland. It's not going to make anybody in Britain who was well disposed to the IRA, well disposed to them, to lose it. It's going to, for the majority of people who've seen it on television, who've seen Gerry Adams, and that they've been appalled by some of the things they've said. In fact, it's worked against their interests as they've tried to explain away terrible deeds like Enniskillen.
But the Irish Republic has banned people like Mr. Adams. Now, shouldn't we do the same?
Well, the Irish Republic have also banned the Ulster Defence Association and all organisations prescribed by the Prevention of Terrorism Act in the United Kingdom. If we're going to do the same, are we going to prescribe those organisations on the loyalist side also who have involved in terrorism, violence, the sort of things we've read about this last weekend and the history? If there was to be even-handedness like that, there might perhaps be an argument for it. But if you only treat one lot of the terrorists in this way and not the others, then it doesn't apply. And also, of course, you're not affecting the press generally. So you can't interview Mr. Adams, but the Times can publish a full-page statement by him.
We'll see what the terms are tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. McNamara. Carol.
Air traffic controllers said tonight the Civil Aviation Authority's plans for easing flight delays and improving air safety were too little, too late. The CAA plans to spend £600 million on new radars and computers to overhaul the way flights are controlled through Britain's crowded skies. The Institute of Professional Civil Servants said there would still be too few controllers to handle ever more flights. The International Airline Passengers Association said the plans didn't meet the need for a Europe-wide air traffic control system.
The chaos at British airports this summer made it obvious that Europe's air traffic control systems wouldn't be equal to the challenge of the 1990s. CAA says £600 million is what must be spent to increase the safe capacity of Britain's skies. There are 4 key elements in the CAA plan. New technology, including new radar, and a new computer for London air traffic control at West Drayton. Reorganising the air traffic control over the southeast. Expanding the regional centres at Manchester and Prestwick in Scotland. And changing the system for controlling aircraft. At present, controllers are each responsible for small parcels of airspace, passing aircraft from one to another. But each controller has to worry about aircraft passing through from different directions. Under the new system, one controller will handle a much bigger block of airspace, but with all aircraft heading the same way in a tunnel in the sky. Other tunnels will then take aircraft heading in different directions. But the CAA is criticised for underestimating the growth in air traffic. It forecasts that flights will increase by 68% in the last 15 years of this century. But airlines and manufacturers estimate traffic will grow by 100%. The air traffic controllers say that's one reason why £600 million isn't enough.
In international terms, it's small change. British Airways is going to spend £2.5 billion on aircraft. The CAA is going to spend £600 million on the infrastructure. It's about 1.5 jumbo jets per year. Go to Heathrow, go to Gatwick. How many jumbos do you see on the ground? We're not spending enough on the infrastructure. The plan's fine and we welcome it, but the investment is too little, too late.
Many of last summer's delays were caused by hold-ups overseas, made worse by a fragmented European air traffic control network.
This solution is a solution to a British problem, but it's no solution to a European problem. For that reason, it's adding nothing to the real problems of the 1990s of flying in Europe.
But improvements are on the way, though perhaps not for some time. The summer round of airport chaos is likely to be as bad as ever next year. Keith Hatfield, News at 10, London.
The civil service unions say 5,000 of their members walked out today in protest at the sacking of 4 workers who've refused to give up union membership at the GCHQ spy listening base. The leader of the opposition, Mr. Kinnock, called the sackings an unjustified and undemocratic attack on individual civil liberties.
The remaining trade union members at GCHQ had until midnight last Friday to renounce their union rights or face swift and decisive action. The government does not believe that union membership and national security are compatible.
I've never fully understood this, nor have my members, and the spies and the dangers to national security like Burgess, McLean and Philby never belong to any trade union. I don't see where they get this concept of trade unions are traitors, and we bitterly resent that.
The action was immediately condemned by the Labour Party, which will raise the issue when the Commons resumes tomorrow.
There is a fundamental right to free association, to organisation in protection of individual rights, and that should apply as much at GCHQ as at any other workplace in the land.
Mike Grindley is one of the 4 who's been sacked. He's the chairman of the main protest group which has been fighting the ban. He's worked at GCHQ for 27 years.
It comes as a shock to learn that the government have done this disgraceful thing, because we believe it is a disgraceful thing. Everybody has the basic and fundamental right to belong to a trade union, and the fact that the government of what is supposed to be an ancient democracy has done this to us for no other reason than trade union membership is a terrible thing. And we believe that democratic people right across the country will be, like ourselves, outraged.
The government has been trying to remove union membership from GCHQ for almost 5 years. Most employees there accepted a one-off payment of £1,000 to relinquish their rights, but the 18 who refused have had considerable support from other unions. At last week's Conservative Party conference there was a protest, and on hearing the news today, a number of government staff walked out. Civil service unions are now planning a day of action on November the 7th.
Ford has confirmed it's to build a £700 million car engine plant in South Wales. It'll mean 3,000 new jobs. The plant at Bridgend, where Ford already has a big operation, could transform the local economy. It's the largest single investment in Britain by Ford and means it's invested £3,000 million here in the past 2 years. More than half the engines will be exported.
The Princess of Wales has been speaking about her fears as a young mother bringing up children in a society plagued, as she put it, by prostitution, drug addiction and divorce. She was speaking at the annual conference of the children's charity Barnardo's in London. The princess, whose own parents were divorced when she was young, said family life is extremely important, and the pressures and demands on all modern parents are enormous.
The princess's appeal to family values came at the relaunch of Barnardo's, which wants to abandon its Victorian image and highlight its work fighting modern problems.
I fully realise that for many young people, family life is not always a happy experience. They may have been thrown out of their homes, or circumstances may have forced them to leave. Some are homeless. Others are at risk of drug addiction or prostitution. It's even more of a challenge if such young adults are themselves parents.
Earlier, royal fashion designer Bruce Oldfield, a former Barnardo's child, joined present-day Barnardo's children on the Thames to publicise the relaunch. In 1866, Dr. Thomas Barnardo began the job of rescuing thousands of destitute children. In the appalling conditions of Victorian London, he opened his first home for orphans, giving birth to what has become Britain's largest childcare charity. Most of today's Barnardo's children are not orphans. They live at home with their parents, but have special needs. These have been brought to the Barnardo's Toy Library in Birmingham. Other projects, like this print workshop in Hertford, train older children in a trade, giving them valuable work experience. And the emphasis is on the home and the family, with Barnardo's workers visiting the children, many of them handicapped, in the family home.
Oh, good girl. There you go. So she'll walk.
It was the vital role of the family that the Princess of Wales took for her theme today, saying she spoke not only as president of Barnardo's, but as a mother.
I know that family life is extremely important, and as a mother of two small boys, I think we may have to find a secure way of helping our children, to nurture and prepare them to face life as stable and confident adults.
The Princess concluded her speech by revealing Barnardo's new logo and new modern image. Glenn O'Glaser, News at 10, Central London.
The Football League voted out its president, Mr. Philip Carter of Everton, today, saying he'd put his club's interests before the league's in reaching a £44 million deal with ITV for televising soccer. The league also ejected Arsenal's Mr. David Dane from its management committee.
The summer battle over who should televise league soccer split the game in half. When Carter signed the deal with ITV's Greg Dyke, he'd been accused of trying to set up a breakaway Super League, including his own club. Today, the leaders of the clubs who would have been excluded were determined on revenge for what they saw as his treachery to the league as a whole. Carter denied the dual role and claimed it was because of his efforts that the TV money coming to the game had quadrupled to 44 millions.
Frankly, at the moment, it's a sense of relief because this is a most unsavoury affair. It's been allowed to reach these proportions, which I think is bad for football.
But would he consider coming back not as president?
I have no intention of returning to the management committee. I'm not prepared to work with some of the people on the management committee in future.
The league seemed almost embarrassed at what they'd done.
Clearly, if one has just lost two members of the management committee, the president and another member, then it would be naive to suggest that there is not some repair work to be done.
The man who did the TV deal supported Carter.
I feel very disappointed for both David Dean and Philip Carter. I think they did a good job for football. They got an enormous amount of money for football. It seems to me that to sack them because of the way they went about it seems rather an odd decision on behalf of the rest of the football club.
So this saga has ended in bloodletting, but many in the game believe it was a wasteful, time-consuming exercise, diverting attention from real problems like hooliganism, which football now has to face. Giles Smith, ITN Sport, at Villa Park.
3 Derbyshire schoolboys who fought their way into a burning minibus to rescue the mentally handicapped passengers inside have been recommended for a bravery award. They helped the passengers to safety just seconds before the engine exploded.
The mini-coach, owned by Social Services, burst into flames at Ilkeston in Derbyshire as it was being used to drive handicapped people back from a day out. Teenagers Richard Whetstone, Andrew Corker and Martin Saunders battled their way through dense smoke to help the driver get passengers out of the vehicle. They also organised taxis and other cars to form a barricade to stop traffic getting too close to the burning coach. 30 seconds after they got the last passenger out, the vehicle burst into a ball of flames. Police say the boys' actions undoubtedly helped prevent a tragedy, but the lads, all aged 15, said they just acted instinctively.
You don't think what's happening. Just go straight in. And Richard and Andy went straight into the bus. Tried to phone fire service. Then I went and got the traffic out of the way.
You didn't have time to think about it. You just run for the bus. You could think about the people that are on it, in case it, in case it blew up. But we were lucky it didn't, or they would have all been killed.
I was feeling a bit shaky, like it were going to blow up and I had to get everyone out. And there's this old man and old lady walking down Bath Street, and I says, we can't go down there, sorry, but there's a fire. He says, oh, we'll cross over and go on to the side then. I got them into the telephone box, so if it did blow up, it would shelter them. And then they stood in there, then when the fire engine got here, I got them out again.
Do you feel like heroes?
I don't know, in a way I don't think it's sunken, that what I did, I still feel a bit, shaky.
Yeah, still nervous of what's happened.
Engineers have now inspected the burnt-out shell and say the blaze was caused by a faulty fuel pipe which leaked onto the engine. None of the 9 handicapped passengers were hurt, but the boys were taken to hospital for treatment after inhaling smoke.
3 young grey whales trapped in the ice in Alaska are still alive, but help is still a day or more away. Can they last that long? A report next. Plus, the voters, the American election just passes by. And the coppers beat on Easy Street. That's in a couple of minutes.